Hello everyone, my name is Manikant Muluri. This is my final project for CSI E90 Cloud Computing. We will be seeing corporate file sharing using AWS Storage Gateway. Here is the agenda. We'll be going through what is AWS Storage Gateway, what are different solutions does AWS Storage Gateway offer, implementation of corporate file sharing using gateway cached volumes, and what are its pros and cons. Before we begin what is AWS Storage Gateway, we will see why we need AWS Storage Gateway for an enterprise. Enterprises are having issues of storing the data. They are having tough time to challenge the scalability issues and maintenance issues. For this, they are looking for a constant solution. They are looking for a solution. So AWS Storage Gateway will offer them a solution. AWS Storage Gateway is a service that connects an on-premises software with cloud-based storage to provide the integration between the on-premises IT environment and the storage infrastructure. It offers two solutions. One is volume gateways and tape-based solutions. Volume gateways are further divided into gateway cached volumes and gateway stored volumes. Difference between cached volumes and stored volumes are, one is mainly used for the scalability issues, and one addresses the offsite backups, mainly used for offsite backups. Okay, so what is gateway cached volume architecture? Cache volumes mainly use S3 as a primary stage for storing the data, and it minimizes the need to scale your on-premises storage infrastructure. It also provides applications fast access to their frequently accessed data, and it can also create storage volumes up to 32 terabytes and attach them as an iSCSI drives. And also each gateway can support up to 20 volumes. So this is the volume architecture diagram. As you see here, we deployed the gateway virtual machine in the data center, and we also attached the SAN and network attached drives to it, which is needed for the cache storage and upload buffer for the gateway virtual machine. And the gateway virtual machine is the intermediate between the application server, our on-premises storage, on-premises application server, and S3. So whatever the data that needs to be sent to the S3, it has to pass through the gateway virtual machine. And we also have we also looking into the diagram that we have the cache storage and the upload buffer. Cache storage acts as a store for data that is pending upload to S3. So, and also the upload buffer acts as a stage area before it stores to S3. So now we'll look into the implementation details about like how we have set up this storage gateway, and what are the various ways to set up the gateway configuration. We'll look into it in next slides. AWS gateway configuration can be done in two ways. We can do it through console, we can do it through Amazon APIs. The very first step we have to do is we have to log into the aws.amazon.com and click on the storage gateways, and then we deploy a new gateway under the navigation. We have to deploy a new gateway. Once we click on that link, it will walk through some steps, and first we have to download the storage gateway appliance in our system. Once we download in our system, then we have to install this or put this image in the virtual machine, either in the VM workstation or the Microsoft Hyper-V. And Amazon supports VMware ESXi and the Hyper-V. I tried with the Microsoft Hyper-V, but I couldn't able to get this image done. for some reasons it did not allow me, and it could not recognize a virtual machine, and I finally gave up and worked on the VMware workstation. So as you see in my screenshot, we have the AWS Storage Gateway appliance, and we have like two hard drives. One is needed for the upload buffer, and one is needed for the cache storage. So I created the virtual drives and I mapped those virtual drives out here, and also once I started the machine, I was able to get the IP address, and this IP address is needed to activate the gateway. Once you get the IP address from the VM machine, we'll go to the console and we'll follow some steps, and then we'll enter the IP address below. Once we enter the IP address, and then the gateway will be activated. There is another way of doing it also. We can activate the gateway through the Amazon API. Advantage of this is like you don't have to go through all the steps to configure a gateway, and I did it with the script. So what we can do is like we'll for this gateway IP address, we'll get the activation key, and we'll set the gateway name and gateway time zone, region, and what is the gateway type. So once we define that and execute it, it will automatically create the gateway. Alright, after we create the gateway, we can configure the local storage. This local storage is needed, as I mentioned you before, it is needed for the cache storage and also for the upload buffer. We'll configure this local storage and we'll map the virtual drives to this in the configure local storage. Once local storage configuration has been done, then we'll create the volumes. This is nothing but a cloud volume. This resides in the Amazon Simple Storage Service, this volume. So we will create the volume, and as you see in my screen, I'm creating a capacity of 50 gigabytes, and that is the iSCSI target name. And we'll enter the I entered here as my cloud volume, and the host IP and port, that is actually getting it from the gateway address. So once I created the volume, we have to connect it to the volume. What we have to do is we have to start the iSCSI initiator service, and we'll discover our storage volume, and we'll mount the volume by using the Windows Management Service. So here is how we can discover the iSCSI storage volume. Once we open the iSCSI.exe, we'll go into the Discovery tab, and we'll click on the Discovery portal, and we'll enter the gateway IP address and the gateway port number, and we'll refresh the screen, and we'll get the IP address and the other. In the targets, we'll find out the iSCSI target name, and we'll connect it to that target. Once we connect it to the target, we'll also open the disk management. In the disk management, you'll find another disk that is not being initialized. So we'll initialize that disk, and we'll format the disk and mount that storage volume to our local machine or to the data center. Okay, now it's time to test the setup, whether we will be able to store the files to the S3, and in case of any emergencies or in case of any things, do we actually retrieve the files from the cloud storage or not. So here I did a small test here. I dropped the files from my local machine to the storage volume, and then I further went and created a snapshot on this volume, and then I mounted back that I created a new volume on the snapshot volume, and I mounted back the snapshot volume to my machine to find out whether those files exist or not. Creating the snapshot volume is simple. I mean, like once you go into the volumes, you'll have the create snapshot. You'll click on that button, and the snapshots will be created. And once you create the snapshots, you'll get a snapshot ID. So once again, we have to, since we wanted to see what is there in that snapshot volume, we have to create another volume, and this time we'll give the snapshot ID, and capacity is 50 GB, and then I created the volume, and from there I was able to see the files were being there and files were being resided. Okay. Pros and cons, I feel definitely it's going to minimize the scalability and maintenance issues. It is easy to do the backup and store the volume in cloud, and it is cost effective. Cons, I feel sharing corporate files in the cloud is still a risky because of security concerns. And one more thing I noticed, I wanted to automate this process fully, even by configuring the local storage and creating the volumes by Amazon API programming, but I couldn't do it. I got stumbled in one step, that is in by when I was creating, when I was attaching this local disks, I was not able to do it, and it was asking me for some disk IDs, which I tried to find out in virtual machine, but I couldn't able to do it. And I was, even though I tried to search in the online where I can, most of the time people told me that, I mean, like if we have a root access, we would be able to figure it out, the disk IDs, but unfortunately the appliance doesn't have a root access, and I was not able to find out the disk ID, and there I gave up on that. And here also we have some resources which has the user guide. What does this storage gateway about, and what are different solution it offers, and it also explains like how you can configure the not only the cache storage, and it also have the storage volumes and tape libraries. And if you go through the API guide, we have the API references for the storage for a storage gateway, how we can actually use these classes and interfaces, and then we can use it in our programming. So so this is my brief summary about the AWS Storage Gateway and corporate file sharing using AWS Storage Gateway